I'm here in Butner, North Carolina, where Brian Fletcher lives, the latest victim to fall prey to New Jersey's draconian gun laws. Brian is co-owner of a company that upgrades and repairs cell towers. In June, he and his crews responded to an emergency call from New Jersey when 500,000 people were without power because of a storm. But in an instant, Brian went from helping people to getting a crash course in quote-unquote Jersey justice. Brian was arrested and now faces felony charges and a minimum of 5 years in prison because he had his handgun that he owns legally in his truck for personal protection. As Brian told me, that's a high price to pay for simply telling a police officer the truth. But just like Shanine Allen, Stephen Josie Davis, Gordon Van Gilder, and Brian Aiken, he is determined to beat a system that is out to destroy his life and his family's. Take a look.
It was like going into another country. Just by going 400 miles across an invisible state line to New Jersey, I didn't have a Second Amendment right. I'm being punished for being a North Carolinian.
It's so shocking for me the way the state of New Jersey operates under gun laws. I think it needs an overhaul.
I think it's a travesty. I think it's a perfect example of government overreach. I came to this country 23 years ago to get away from my native country of Denmark, where socialism and government overreach is an everyday thing.
It's not the America that I know and love.
It's just, hardworking Americans like Brian. He comes up just to help people out, and that's pretty much the only thing he did wrong is he owned a gun and had it in New Jersey.
This is probably 11:30 at night. Get a phone call that there's power outages up north. Immediately I pack, call my guys, meet them at the office. We have to be on the road within an hour.
500,000 people were out of power. And I don't think people can appreciate the amount of stress and adrenaline rush when you deploy.
We left our families. We're not thinking about anything other than getting to where the disaster is and trying to help. That's the kind of person Brian is.
We get to Trenton. I work basically all week long. No problems, no incidences. Get the phone call to pull over, wait for instructions for our next job. I pulled over and trying to find a place that looked well protected. I'm not gonna get robbed in the middle of the night.
We go with fuel trucks, and we have been held up at gunpoint where somebody wanted to steal our fuel. So we often also have armed guards.
I carry my firearm for self-defense because we're working super late hours, so we're sleeping in our trucks, not always in the best area. I had no idea I was breaking any laws.
We're just sitting there minding our business, and we've seen some headlights come up behind us. It might be somebody we work with.
So I get out, and immediately I got the light in my face, and I immediately know it's a police officer. We both walk over to the truck, and before I get to the door, I inform him, hey, sir, I just let you know I have a gun in the door. In North Carolina, this is exactly what we do here. As long as it's not concealed, you're fine. He calls for his partner to come over. They let me know I'm under arrest. The officers seem to be really apologetic, so I was floored, I was shocked. I go from talking to the officer, we're smiling and laughing, to being handcuffed and being told I'm a felon, looking at 5 to 10 years. It was a nightmare.
5 to 10 years for telling the truth. Had we been in my truck, I'd have had 2 guns. So I had no clue what happened to me. That's not justice.
I was just numb. How do you explain to kids that Daddy was honest and that's why he's in jail?
I just remember being in jail overnight, just picturing my daughter, seeing her now at 13 and thinking 5 years from now she'll be 18. Not being there for graduations. I really had to calm myself down after thinking that.
We don't operate that way here, not at all. In law enforcement, you have to use a judgment call when you have good, law-abiding, working citizens that's willing to go above and beyond the call of duty to help people out in times of need, use common sense in enforcing the law.
But there's people out there saying, well, Brian should have known the law.
That's as far-fetched as you can get, in my opinion. I don't know the laws in every state, but I'd have done the same thing he did. He left, going there in the middle of the night, emergency call. They have so many minutes to even get ready to go.
I didn't know I was going to New Jersey, when I first got the phone call. The last thing I'm thinking about is guns. I'm thinking of helping people It was a very honest mistake.
You listen to these New Jersey lawmakers, and they say, these gun laws, it's all about making our community safer. Is making you do time in prison really gonna stop the criminals on the street?
It wouldn't stop any criminals because I'm not one.
I work in the court system, so I see it, banging on the cell doors and yelling and cussing and screaming. That's just not my husband. He's not a criminal.
Regardless of what the law is, the criminal's gonna have a gun. The good people are the ones that's suffering and being penalized for what the criminals do. And when you do that, you're letting the criminals take over.
Do you think your case is the perfect case that cries out for why we need national reciprocity in this country?
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we do every day here. To have a gun in your car is as common as having it in your home.
North Carolina recognizes that we have a right to protect ourselves and that we don't have to ask permission.
You should be able to tow your gun anywhere in the United States of America. It's your right. You just Second Amendment right to have your gun.
It supports freedom. We honor 33 other states' concealed carry permit, and they honor ours. But people that have moved here from New Jersey walk in the sheriff's office and want to know the gun laws. And I tell them, and they can't believe it, because it's so strict and harsh in New Jersey. You have too much government getting in your business.
New Jersey's laws with guns is ruining people's lives.
I'm the co-owner of our business. We climb 500-foot cell phone towers all over the country. Me going to jail for 5 years would definitely put our company under.
And it's costing them thousands of dollars just to hopefully correct it. And it would be a shame and a disgrace if he loses what he has and has worked for, and his wife has worked for, over something like this. It's ridiculous.
It's been an emotional roller coaster. I never would have imagined I would have had this amount of support. Even people I don't know telling me that this could have easily been one of them.
My husband coaches our daughter's fast pitch softball team. I had one little girl call me crying, and I've gotten several letters from them. One of them said, I consider Brian to be my second dad. And there's another, and it's titled, The Most Inspiring Person in My Life. Our lives are never going to be the same.
Good to see you.
You too. Appreciate all the support.
I wrote a letter. Hopefully the governor there will make his decision soon. He should be pardoned from this charge.
Hopefully he could see the injustice here. I'm not a criminal.
I can't even believe we're having this conversation. The man has done nothing wrong. He's an outstanding citizen who went up to help fellow Americans, and he should get on with his business and his family life.
I feel like I'm a pretty big patriot, and I am very determined to fight this, not only for myself, but for everyone. And honestly, it makes me sad for my girls growing up. If this is how we treat people, it's not the same country I grew up in.
Whatever you let happen today is going to be the norm tomorrow. You have to stand strong for the United States. That's what we treasure here, is freedom.